Welcome to the deep dive. So, you sent us your source material on Dragon Ball, and we're going to dig into it.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
We'll pull out the really interesting bits, the important stuff about how this whole manga, evolved over time.
Exactly. We've got this great material discussing its progression right from the start.
And our mission, basically, is to understand that journey, the narrative changes, the key elements, how the tone shifted.
Yeah, tracing that transformation. It's more than just plot points. It's about why it changed, maybe what that tells us.
Okay, right. So where to begin? How about something fundamental, like the Dragon Balls?
Perfect. They're literally the title.
Right. And at the start, finding them is so central. It's tied into Goku's whole journey, learning martial arts.
Absolutely. In those early chapters, they are the engine of the plot. They drive the characters, make them explore the world, face all these different challenges.
Each ball felt like a mini adventure almost.
Totally. And there was real anticipation, What wish would they make? And just getting them was hard work.
But later on, it feels like their importance, it changes quite a bit.
That's a really key point. It does shift.
They seem to become less about the wish itself and more of a reset button.
Like a safety net.
Characters die and it's like, oh, well, Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
Does that maybe lessen the impact?
That's the big question, isn't it? When resurrection becomes relatively easy, you could argue it lowers the stakes.
Yeah.
It allows for these huge dramatic fights without, permanent consequences for the main cast. But maybe we invest differently when loss isn't quite so final.
The fear isn't quite the same.
Exactly. It shifts from fear of loss to maybe an expectation of revival. Yeah. It definitely changes how death works in the series.
And even finding them changes so much. At first, it's this massive global treasure hunt. Super hard.
Ray's scouring the whole planet.
Then Bulma just invents the Dragon Radar.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's, I don't know, like ordering pizza.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The radar is like the perfect example of a convenient plot device that just completely changes the adventure's feel.
How so?
Well, it streamlines everything. The story can jump to the next big conflict much faster. But maybe you lose some of that charm, that sense of exploration from the early days.
The journey itself becomes less important.
Yeah, it's more about getting the wish done quickly to solve the current problem, which sort of mirrors the whole series shifting towards more direct conflict anyway.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk about those early volumes then. Chapters, 1 to 134?
Right, the beginning.
The source material really highlights this mix of fantasy and humor. Very reminiscent of Toriyama's other work, Dr. Slump.
Oh, absolutely. The early Dragon Ball world is just dripping with fantasy elements, often really lighthearted ones.
Like what specifically?
Well, Goku himself, the monkey boy with the tail. The Dragon Balls obviously granting wishes. Talking animals just walking around like it's normal.
Right, the talking dog president, stuff like that.
Exactly. And you've got characters explicitly called gods and demons. It builds this whimsical, almost mythological vibe.
And the humor. It was often really silly, sometimes a bit out there, but fun.
Definitely a core part of the appeal early on.
But the source also mentions these hints of sci-fi, even back then. It brings up Clark's third law. Sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah, that's a great observation. Think about the hoi poi capsules.
Oh yeah, tiny pill, poof, there's a house or a car.
Exactly. It seems like magic, but it's presented as technology, advanced tech. Same with some of the vehicles and gadgets. They're fantastical, but they're inventions.
So it blends the lines.
Deliberately, I think. It creates this unique world where you don't always know if something's magic or just super advanced science.
It's clever. You just kind of accept it all. And overall, those early parts feel so much lighter, don't they?
Yeah. The stakes are usually personal or maybe town level. And like the source says, death is pretty rare. It's mostly adventure, discovery, meeting weird characters.
Goku learning, getting stronger, but mostly having fun.
Pretty much. It's about the journey, exploring, honing skills. The humor keeps it buoyant.
Okay, but then things start to change. We get to the King Piccolo arc, chapters 135 to 194.
A definite shift.
The source calls it subtle but significant, a move towards a darker atmosphere. What kicks that off?
Well, King Piccolo himself is just different. He's not a comedic rival. He's genuinely evil, wants world domination. The threat feels bigger, more serious.
And then Krillin dies.
Yeah.
That felt like a genuine shock. Not like, oh, he'll be back soon. It felt final. at least
It
initially.
was a huge moment. The first time Goku really experiences that kind of profound loss, that grief, and it ignites this rage in him.
The source says it's the first of many deaths in that arc, and it sets a pattern.
It really does. This arc establishes a formula we see again and again. Powerful new enemy appears, beloved character falls, Goku or another hero pushes past their limits to avenge them. The emotional stakes just shoot way up.
Which kind of snowballs into the next big shift, right? The Saiyan arc, chapters 195 to 241.
Oh yeah, that's not subtle at all.
The source calls it a radical transformation. All about action, sci-fi. This is basically where Dragon Ball becomes Dragon Ball Z in the anime, yeah.
Absolutely. It's a watershed moment. The lighthearted adventure stuff takes a major backseat. Now it's intense, planet-threatening battles.
Then the lore just explodes.
Completely. We find out Goku's an alien, a Saiyan. His brother Raditz shows up. Then Vegeta and Nappa. Even Piccolo gets retconned as an extraterrestrial, a Namekian.
It changes everything. Suddenly it's not just Earth. There's space, other planets, whole warrior races.
Interstellar travel, alien threats.
Yeah.
It fundamentally alters the series. The talking animals and the more grounded human martial artists feel like they belong to a different story almost.
Do you think something was lost there in that transition?
That's a fair question. I mean, the shift to sci-fi allowed for bigger scale, crazier power levels, sure. But maybe some of that earlier charm, the whimsy, got sidelined?
The focus narrows.
Yeah, it becomes much more about combat power levels, who's stronger. Less room, perhaps, for the quirky character interactions and exploration that defined the start.
Okay, so after that intense science stuff, the survivors need the Dragon Balls again, right? To revive everyone.
Yep. But Earth's Dragon Balls are gone because Piccolo died. So they head to his home planet, Namek.
Which kicks off the Frieza arc, chapters 242 to 329. And this is where we get, well, maybe the most iconic moment in the whole thing.
Super Saiyan.
The golden hair, the aura, the unbelievable power jump. What made that specific transformation so huge?
It works on so many levels. Narratively, it's Goku finally breaking his limits, fueled by rage and grief over Krillin dying again.
Right, Frieza kills him.
And visually, it's just incredibly striking, instantly recognizable. But maybe more importantly, it sets a whole new benchmark for power. It becomes the template for all future power-ups.
The defining image of Dragon Ball's power fantasy.
Pretty much. And it also cemented this idea of escalating power levels.
Yeah, the source mentions battle power and the Saiyan Scouters measuring it. It almost feels like a video game mechanic.
Exactly. The Scouters giving actual numbers for strength really emphasizes that focus on combat and getting stronger.
Even though the numbers break constantly. It's over 9,000.
Right. They become unreliable, kind of obsolete later. But early on, they really highlight this fascination with quantifiable strength and the drama of someone shattering those expected limits.
Okay, so Frieza's defeated. Then we move into the Android arc, chapters 330 to 420. This one feels a bit different again. We get Trunks from the future.
Yeah, the Android arc brings in time travel, this really bleak future timeline. Trunks arriving with warnings about these killer cyborgs. It creates a lot of mystery and urgency.
And the androids themselves, 17 and 18 especially, they're not like Frieza or Vegeta with grand ambitions.
Right. Initially, they seem almost chaotic, just destructive for the sake of it, less clear motivations. And then Cell emerges.
The bio-android.
Yeah.
Creepy origin story there. Made from the cells of all the heroes and villains.
A really unique kind of antagonist, absorbing people to get stronger.
And what's really interesting here is Goku doesn't win the final fight.
No, he doesn't. He sacrifices himself.
And it's Gohan. His son steps up, reaches Super Saiyan 2. That felt like a major moment, maybe passing the torch.
It was huge for Gohan's character, a big subversion of expectations too, you know? Everyone assumes Goku will save the day.
But he doesn't.
It showed the potential in that younger generation, a really powerful emotional climax after Goku's sacrifice. Even if Goku eventually takes back the main hero spot later.
It still highlighted Gohan's potential.
Definitely. Showed he could be Earth's protector.
Which brings us, finally, to the last big saga of the original run, the Majin Buu arc.
Yeah.
Chapters 421 to 519.
The grand finale, yeah.
Goku comes back, but just for a day at first. And there's a bit of focus on teenage Gohan again, trying to be a hero.
Right, it starts there, but things escalate fast. This arc is just sprawling, pulls in everyone, introduces even more transformations, more threats.
We see basically all the Saiyans hit at least Super Saiyan 1. Goku and Vegeta get Super Saiyan 2.
And then Goku pushes it even further to Super Saiyan 3.
Which looked cool, but also seemed really draining.
Yeah, visually amazing, but it highlights the immense strain these forms take. And then there's fusion.
Right. Gotenks, Goten, and Trunks fused. And Vegito, Goku, and Vegeta.
Another way to just keep pushing the power ceiling higher and higher. Fusion creates these temporary characters who are just ridiculously strong.
Gotenks was kind of funny, though. Cocky kid.
Provided some comic relief,
Yeah.
amidst the power. Vegito, though, was just pure dominance. Showed a level of power over Buu that seemed impossible before.
And Buu himself, what a weird villain. Starts off chubby and almost childlike, then gets progressively more menacing.
And that absorption ability made him so unpredictable. He just keeps getting stronger by eating other powerful characters. Gotenks, Piccolo, Gohan.
He even destroys the Earth, like blows it up completely.
Yeah, the stakes just couldn't get any higher at that point. A genuinely shocking moment.
Yeah.
Total cosmic threat.
But when Namekian and Dragon Balls come to the rescue again, bringing us back to the wishes.
Restores the Earth, brings everyone back for the final showdown.
And in the end, it's Goku again, defeating the final form, Kid Buu. But not with brute force alone.
Right, he uses the Spirit Bomb.
Yeah.
Gathering energy from everyone across the universe.
It emphasizes that unity idea. Even Goku needs help.
Exactly. A nice thematic touch for the finale. Hope, collective effort.
And then we get that little epilogue 10 years later.
Mm-hmm. Ties things up, but also hints at more.
Kid Buu is reincarnated as Yub, this good kid, and Goku wants to train him.
Yeah, sets up this idea that the cycle continues. There will always be challenges, always a need for strong protectors. Yu represents that potential for good emerging from evil.
Even Mr. Satan gets a nice moment, helping Yub's village financially.
Right, everyone gets a little bit of closure. And then that final panel, waving goodbye.
So looking back at this whole massive story, it really did transweb, didn't it? It started as this, I don't know, charming, funny fantasy adventure, all about finding these magic balls.
Yeah, whimsical, adventurous.
And ended up as this crazy, action-packed sci-fi epic. Universe-level threats, transformations stacked on
The
transformations.
scale just kept expanding exponentially.
And the Dragon Balls themselves, they went from being the main goal to being, like you said, a safety net. Almost a plot device to fix things.
Their role definitely shifted. And along the way, we got these concepts like Super Saiyan, fusion, things that are just iconic in pop culture now.
Absolutely ingrained.
So yeah, the series showed this incredible ability to adapt, to reinvent itself, maybe following audience tastes, maybe just Toriyama's creative direction. The core appeal shifted from exploration to just pure high-octane battle spectacle.
Which kind of leads to our final thought for the listeners, I guess. You look at this constant escalation, right? Power levels going up and up, threats getting bigger and bigger, this endless cycle. What is the enduring appeal? Why do people still love Dragon Ball so much after all this time? Is it just the fights? Is it watching Goku strive to get stronger, the friendships, or something else entirely?
That's the question, isn't it? It's probably a mix of all those things. The action is undeniably exciting. That journey of self-improvement, training harder, it's aspirational.
And the characters, the bonds they form.
Yeah, that sense of camaraderie, loyalty, it resonates. It offers escapism, sure, but also these themes of perseverance, friendship, hope. Lots to think about.
Definitely something to mull over.